Brought to you by fantasyhurling.ie and fantasygaelicfootball.com. Enter now and win up to €2,300 worth of prizes.
Speaking with John Kiley last night, and one of the things he said, Sean, is that the difference between McNeville in January and going back to McNeville this time of the year. What's your take on it?
Rasp, it's no comparison. Like the weather, like all other teams and intercounty teams going back training at the moment, the weather is really pleasing to go back when it's nice conditions and stuff. Of course, in Rackeel, when the ground is soft and it's windy and rainy, it's not that exciting to go back on a Tuesday evening. So to get the opportunity now to go back on a Tuesday when it's sunny is really, really exciting. So really enjoying it at the moment, Raf. Yeah, absolutely.
And the split season as well, Sean, with intercounty out of the way and then a complete shift of focus to club.
Yeah.
Something that you'd agree with and something that you think is beneficial to club and intercounty players?
I think so, Raf. Yeah, in that when you're in the intercounty setup, all your focus on that, you can give everything you have towards the intercounty, and then when that finishes up, all your attention then towards your club, because of course you're going to be expected to give a lot to your club. So at least you're given the opportunity to give all your attention in a long period of time to that club. So yeah, I think it's a great way, and I hope it's the same in the next couple of years. I think it's really, really promising.
Finally, for me, Sean, Tipperary at the weekend, always thereabouts, in a team that have plenty of young blood coming into the panel, no more than yourselves, with the additions that John Kiley mentioned last night. Promises to be a tough encounter.
Yeah, for sure. Again, like other teams, we have only a small bit done over the last couple of weeks, and very little game time done. Only maybe a couple of games in between ourselves. So the first game, of course, is going to be a test, especially with the mileages on the clock, just get miles into the leg and stuff. So yeah, Tipper always going to be good, Raf. They're hurling county and they have young lads coming through, same as ourselves. So look, we can only wait and see, and we'll be looking to get a performance out of ourselves rather than focus on Tipp.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Raf.
Sean, how you doing? It's Gordon Manning here. How are things?
Hi, Gordon. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Sean, just could you tell us maybe how you've been keeping yourself in shape, kind of between January and whatever, but May, early May? Like, what were you doing yourself just to keep in shape?
Obviously, we were lucky to get to the All Ireland in mid-December. So I suppose for the first couple of months, I took a complete break. I didn't pick up a hurley for quite a long time, even till the beginning of April. Done very little exercise. I just found that a break from the whole exercise, the whole training regime, was as beneficial as actually going out training itself. So that I see definitely it has stood to me over the last couple of weeks when we actually have turned our attention to going back training, where I'm looking forward to going back rather than having laboured the last couple of months. So to be honest, I've done very little, Gordon. Done a bit of swimming. The nature of fellas too, in that sense, that are playing at the level we are at the moment, are going to do a bit in the gym just to do something for their head rather than just actually focusing. I'm going to do this for GA. They're going to do a bit of running. They're going to do a bit of gym as well. So like other players, I've done a bit of that over the last couple of months, but did I actually train with the focus of being ready for now? I didn't really. I just took a complete break off, and it's really stood to me now. I'm really looking forward to going back, and I feel really fresh. So I think it was a good decision.
And just kind of work-wise and mentally and stuff, how did you find the last number of months? Obviously, the break from maybe training and games you found good, but just as regards kind of outside of sport, like how kind of did you find those couple of months?
Yeah, good question, Gordon. I think it's a really important topic too, in that how people are finding things at home when they're not meeting a couple of buddies of theirs. I did find it tough at times. I'm lucky, obviously, I've great family and friends around, but there's times when you would find you be low, that you can't get out, and I suppose exercise was a good way to release that sort of tension you might have built up over a couple of days. But working with PwC, doing exams, studying at the moment, was kept quite busy with work, so that took a lot of attention away. But yeah, I did find it, again, like a lot of people, I found it tough at times, especially with the dark evenings and stuff. But as things are beginning to open up a bit, there's a bit of hope there in the next couple of months that things will return to normality. But yeah, good question.
And just finally for me then, Sean, just do you think, teams generally will need a couple of weeks and just to kind of get up to speed? Do you think, the first couple of rounds of games, maybe it won't be high octane stuff really?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like we all would have trained a bit over the last two and a half weeks, but you can't really replicate a game scenario. You need to be playing competitive games to get used to that. So I've no doubt the first couple of league games will be maybe hairy in terms of hurling, maybe some element of fitness, and that over a couple of weeks will begin to improve. But yeah, maybe it will take a couple of weeks, but I do think this 4-week lead into the league we got is sufficient to get us to a level that will allow us to be competitive in the Alliance Hurling League and then league into the championship. So I do think it's a nice 4-week lead in. We got plenty of work done in, and yeah, I think the days of the 4 or 5 month training before the first league game, I think they're hopefully gone, and because I don't think there's a need for them. But I definitely think the 4 to 6 weeks run into the league was really important.
Up and down the country, people love their clubs. Just ask the big names.
Sorry, it's kind of hard to put that into words, Shane.
Okay, well,
you always give it your all for your club, no matter who you're playing or what you're playing. You just always have to try and push yourself.
This is for the Tyrone people, Nicky.
Whatever grade you're playing at within the county, that you were able to have that opportunity to play.
And the other night, like I said, I'm going to watch it.
Well, hopefully you will too, as Our Game launches an online fundraising platform for clubs, helping you raise money for your team through a live interactive show on Zoom. There was a time when a club could sell hundreds of tickets and fill out a big venue, putting on an entertaining show like Dances with the Stars, White Collar Boxing, The Cube and anything in between. Lots of money in the coffers to ensure your team could operate for the season, and a good show put on for those supporting the cause. Right now we're quite some time away from being able to put big crowds into a venue, yet the costs of running a club remain. So if your club is in need of a financial solution, perhaps we have it for you. We'll do it all for you too. We'll set up the ticketing platform, we'll send you a unique Zoom link for each person who has bought a ticket, all the issues taken out there, help organise a great panel of guests and put out a live interactive show for those at home to get involved. Simply contact us on events@ourgame.ie and we'll set your club up for a highly profitable evening's work. It's a simple recipe for your club to get much needed cash in the door, with the extra option to sell raffle tickets if you've prizes to give away. So contact us now at events@ourgame.ie.
In relation to, like, you talked about kind of lockdown, but as we're kind of coming out of lockdown, I think I don't know, did you see the clip of the snooker yesterday? But the idea of the crowds being back,
Yeah.
it was an electric atmosphere. So, like, what does it feel? The idea, like, do you think we'll see crowds this summer at any stage? And what will that moment be like? I guess, you know, when you'll actually be able to run out to a live audience.
Yeah, it's interesting. It put a big smile on my face there, Philip. I'd love to see it like everyone else. I'd love to see a full or even a half capacity Thurles or the Gaelic Grounds or Croke Park. Can I see it happening? I don't know. I think it's unlikely over the next couple of months. Maybe by August, July, you might see some crowds. But like, it'll be a strange one now in July if you're playing a championship game on a Sunday and the weather is lovely, whether it be in Thurles, when usually there might be 40,000 there. So yeah, it seems like a long time ago, Philip, when there was big crowds like that, doesn't it? But I don't think it'll be the case. I think the novelty of it has certainly worn off. I would really love if there was crowds there. But when it is the case, maybe 12 months time, it'll be some incredible. It'll be strange initially, but it'll be amazing to even see a Croke Park with 80,000 in it again.
Well, that's, like, I know it's hard to imagine even now, Sean, but
yeah.
How different was it? Because it's not to say even, I heard one of them last night kind of saying, look, sport is nothing without fans, but like everybody admired what you achieved, but how different was it?
Yeah, it was fine. Like, the circumstances were, we just obviously had to deal with it, and we did, and players just rolled with it. But in one sense, was there a sort of a novelty in it in the first year? Maybe was, and then the evenings, it was evening games, there was lights on, and probably wasn't too much different. But now when the summer's on and the weather being lovely and there's no crowds there, it'll be nearly like an A versus B sort of game. But it seems like a long time ago since there was crowds at a game. Like in 2019, when you think about it, the last game we played was a massive crowd in 80,000 in Croke Park. I don't know if I'll ever be able to play in front of a crowd again. But it wasn't too. We're well used to it now, Philip. Well used to it. It makes no difference to us really.
And did you get any? Did you get any kind of? I know it was so different without the kind of cup, and you had those moments or the couple of hours after the final whistle. But like, was there any highlights since at all? Like, did you get any private moments, or like, how different was it again to 2018 and from the moment the whistle blew?
Yeah, chalk and cheese. Like, we didn't get the cup into the dressing room obviously after the game, after the All-Ireland final. We were lucky in one sense to get the 3 or 4 days to celebrate as a group after the game, and then obviously the lockdown pre-Christmas came, and then that was it. But that was it then. Do you know, like, you hardly even heard about or spoke about the All-Ireland final then 3 weeks later, because you weren't meeting anyone on your family and they were sick of talking about it. So, like, in one sense, it was good because it doesn't even feel like you had won it. So, like, we're coming in this year now when you're kind of fresh, whereas if in 2018 there was 3-4 months of going to schools, going to clubs, going to different occasions with the cup, or even just going as a guest. So, and that can be tiring as well. You know, that can take its toll on players when they're being pulled and dragged. So there was none of that this year, and in one sense that was nice, because there was evens where you just got an opportunity to sit down and relax for the weekend or in an evening time. So it was nice. But I was lucky now over the last 2 weeks. One night I got the cups down to my house, so with a nice night here with the 3 or 4 cups with my family. So that was nice. That was a real highlight, and it was one really low key in comparison to 2018. So you really got to enjoy it. So that was a highlight over the last couple of months, where you really just got to enjoy the moment with your family and those that are closest to you. So yeah, it was chalk and cheese in terms of celebrations in 2018 and 2020, but hopefully another one, Philip, to celebrate in the future.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Philip.
Sean, Fintan O'Toole here from the 42. Just looking at the Limerick full backline last year, I suppose you would have been used to coming up through the grades with Richie English and Mike Casey, and it was a very settled full backline. So, kind of, how big an adjustment was it for you, kind of getting used to playing alongside new players last year?
Yeah, I kind of just settled into it really, Fintan, in that we were obviously dealt with the blow of losing the 2 lads to desperate injuries. But Dan settled in so well. In fairness to Dan, you could tell him to do anything and he'll do it 110%. Barry fitted in very well as well. Very great distributor of the ball, really good on the ball as well, and really settled into a defensive role. And it does take a bit of time, you know, and we really settled in well together. But then you can see it now. There's 6 or 7 lads that you could say that could be starting on this full back line, and that probably gets the best out of myself, Dan, Mike, Richie as well. So, like, in years gone by, there mightn't have been as much competitiveness in that full back line, but now there's certainly 6 or 7 lads that you could be playing there. So, but yeah, it's really great to see Richie coming back. He was obviously on the All-Ireland panel, had a great recovery. Mike is probably a month or 2 short, unfortunately. But yeah, it's great to see that there's so much lads putting their hands up for that position. The pressure on all of us.
And in terms of Tom Condon retired in January, and like Richie McCarthy would retire at the end of 2019. Like, how important were those guys in terms of kind of when you younger kind of fullbacks first came onto the panel? And I suppose you've now kind of taken charge of the situation. Yeah, obviously Richie McCarthy was a fan favourite, and he was a real favourite player of mine when I was growing up as well. Often up in the terraces singing his name, and then get an opportunity to come off and play with him. So he was a great lad around the dressing room. Tom was obviously great as well, and yeah, they had a lot of time and a lot of their life given to Limerick GA, so it was great even for them to get that bit of success when they finish up as well. But there's a lot of leaders in the group that'll be able to take the position that they have left, and there's no doubt that they'll grab that with both hands. But yeah, look, it's sad to see obviously Tom go this year, but there's more to life in the GA as well. He'd begin to enjoy other things than hurling as well. And just finally from me, has the break allowed you a chance maybe to reflect on your own progress? I mean, you would have done your cruise ship in 2016 and then kind of came onto the panel, but like since then, you've had 3 All-Stars in a row, 2 All-Ireland medals. I don't know, have you got a chance to maybe reflect over the last couple of months?
Yeah, not really. It's not something that would really build too much in my mind as such. Maybe I think Fintan, these things, especially the All-Stars, are things you kind of look back at when you finish playing and say, geez, weren't they great times? You'd love to really enjoy the moment for what it is, especially All-Ireland occasions when in 2018, you'd love to really go back and enjoy that moment that bit more. But the pressure and obviously the want to win and the fear of losing obviously takes from that enjoyment element. So to be able to enjoy it so much at that moment is quite difficult. I think when you look back in time, in years to come, saying, gee, that was fantastic. But at the moment when you really want to win and you've put so much pressure on yourself, it's hard to enjoy a lot of these things. But obviously I made a good recovery since the cruciate. Seems like a long time ago now, but hopefully there's more success in the future.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks,
Sean. John Fogarty, Irish Examiner. How are you keeping? Sean, there's been a lot of debate over the city season months about, Limerick hurling's opportunity being Munster Rugby's difficulty. Being from a dual town like yourself, of Bruff, obviously, which has a very proud rugby tradition and a growing GA tradition. What are your thoughts on that?
In which the dual...
In the sense that, the Limerick GA has taken over a little bit from rugby in Limerick.
Yeah. I suppose that would have never happened really, John, if Limerick weren't successful over the last couple of years. I think a lot of the attention would still be on, especially in the city, on rugby. Where teams are successful, of course, younger people are going to be wanted to be involved in that. And I think, look, it's great for the GA, for Gaelic games around Limerick. There's great structures in underage academies in Limerick, both in county and at club level. And that has been as a result of success in 2018, but we wouldn't be talking about this if there was no success over the last couple of years, So, look, Limerick is a great sporting county. There's still a lot of people looking to play rugby in the city, and there's some big schools that are developing great players for Munster and stuff, and soccer as well. Soccer is big in the city as well, and obviously with the Treaty United starting up again. But look, where teams are successful and Gaelic games and Limerick are successful in the hurling at the moment, I think that a lot of kids look up to us at the moment and say, Genie, I want to be playing with them now and I want to be successful. So it's great for Gaelic games. Of course, I'm a big advocate of Gaelic games, so it's great for us at the moment. But
do you think the two can coexist? Like Munster Rugby can come back to achieve success while Limerick GA is at the top table?
I think so. I follow the rugby, enjoy watching the rugby, but I can't really have an opinion on how they can be successful in the future because I don't know how they can. But I definitely can see them both Gaelic games and rugby succeeding and being successful alongside each other in Limerick and in Munster. Can't see why. It's just a matter of putting the structures in place. There's plenty of people and kids out there wanting to play and are playing. It's just a matter of getting the structures right, both for hurling and football and rugby. And you can see the success that has brought for Limerick hurling over the last couple of years. Like that wasn't brought over the last few years. It could be 10 years in the making from we were under 14. So it does take time. And it takes the right people involved in the right organisation and structure. So I'm sure if the rugby have that in place, they'll begin to reap rewards over the next couple of years.
And the very final one, Sean, did you play rugby at underage for Bruff?
I did when I was very young, John. I'm really good now, but I played. But I go over watching my couple of buddies play, and I go over and watch a couple of games. I'd be quite interested. So maybe when I'm player, John, I might turn to the rugby.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Hi, Sean. Owen from RT. I'll try again. You can hear me this time?
Hi, Owen. Yeah, how are you getting on?
Oh, thank God. Sean, John Kiley said he thinks that the new black card law is too complex. Do you have similar feelings, or what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it actually didn't come into my head up until I saw the interview, I think, or the article this morning. It might be worth having a discussion with a couple of defenders that we have at the moment, just to see, I suppose, their approach around it, and just to be cognizant of it, and just to know the rules around it. I don't actually know anything about the black card rule. I don't know what happens, to be honest, or where you're punished in the field. But from what I understand, it's going to be quite hard to to manage from a referee's perspective, in that, especially where like a lot of forwards at the moment can actually play for a free and can be dropping the head, and players are nearly, in one sense, could be coached to win frees, and that can be difficult as a defender to try avoid that too, because you can be sucked into it unintentionally. So it'll be a difficult one, but it's I must actually bring it up soon on and just have a discussion around it. Thanks for reminding me. But I don't know. It'll be. We're going to have to wait and see how it goes in the league. It'll certainly be a hot topic of conversation over the next couple of months. But yeah, I don't know too much about it.
You were one of the players using the bamboo hurley last year, Sean. Are you going to use it again this year? Will it be your main hurler? How do you find it?
Yeah, I find it really good. I think there's very little difference between the ash and the bamboo at the moment, and I do think it has a place in the GA in the next couple of years, especially. I know Grode Hegarty is a big. He uses it quite a lot. I've obviously using the ash at the moment, but I could probably use it over the next couple of weeks as well. The bamboo, I think it's really good.
And do you find you get longer distance on it, or is it almost the same? Or?
Yeah, almost the same. Very, like, from a player's perspective, it looks like a hurley. It feels like a hurley, and essentially it performs like a hurley as well. So that's the main thing, you know. So oftentimes when the Cool Tech was there, and if you saw an intercounty hurler using plastic hurley, you'd be looking at him twice. So considering it looks like a hurley, I think it's a big plus. And again, it performs the same as an ash hurley.
Last one for me then. Whereabouts did you do the swimming? Were you in the sea, or?
Yeah, I spent a bit of time back in Doonbeg. My girlfriend has a house back there, so spent 3 or 4 months back there. Spent a lot of time in the sea swimming, well away from hurley and slither. So it was a nice break. I really enjoyed the 3 or 4 months, and really looking forward. I feel the freshness now going into training. I'm really looking forward to getting into games as well.
Good stuff. Thanks.
Right on.
How's it going, Sean? It's Niall McIntyre here.
Hi, Niall. How are you doing?
Not too bad now. You mentioned, Sean, that you weren't doing too much maybe the few months after winning the All Ireland. So how did the body hold up, I suppose, getting back into training then the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, as I said, I suppose the nature lads over the last couple of weeks would have begun to gradually do their own bit, because they just wanted to feel good and do a bit of exercise anyway. But yeah, certainly the miles on the legs, I felt it over the last 2 weeks. There was tough 2-week sessions. But even after 2 weeks, I feel like we've been training for the last month and a half. You know, we're really back into the swing of it again, back into the routine of doing your recovery after training hard for the hour and a half, 2 hours, or whenever you're training. But look, there's no replacement for games as well, and we're looking forward to getting the league underway and just to get miles in the legs as well. Just that 70 minutes, you know. You can do all the running and all the drills and stuff. It's just there's no real replication for games, and I'm really looking forward to that starting with no injuries.
I've seen a few different kind of physios and even county managers come out saying that the 4-week lead-in wasn't enough, like, for players to prepare for a league. Like you said earlier that you thought it was sufficient. Like, do you think it is, like, lads are kind of raring to go anyway?
Yeah, I do think so. I think so, Niall. I think the days of the 4-month preseason, I don't think there's a place for it anymore. There might be a place for it, okay, but I think to get fit, I think 6 weeks is plenty long enough. If you apply yourself right. Of course, there's going to be exceptions where there's some lads prone to putting on a bit of weight and stuff over the couple of months. But again, you can tailor programs. There's S&C coaches well experienced to be able to tailor a fitness program for them or a diet program for them that will fit their needs, you know. But in the grand, to fit the modern player, I think 4 to 6 weeks is plenty. And yeah, I'm happy really with the lead into the league.
Cheers, Sean.
Thanks, Niall.
Hi, Sean. Marie here from Pundit Arena. How's things?
Hi, Marissa. How are you doing?
Not too bad now. It's just following on from that again. It's going to be a fairly grueling schedule coming up. You know, the 5 games with just one break in between, and then heading straight into championship almost. Has player management come up a lot in the past 2 weeks of prep?
I suppose player management probably has been there for the last number of years, where a lot of teams are tracking players' loads and how they're feeling, both on and off the field. So I think that has probably been there for the last couple of years, and obviously would be a lot more attention will be on it now as games begin to, and the increased load of the next couple of weeks. But that's where you're like, there's a panel of 45 players, there are 35, 38 players, I think. Like, they'll all be used over the next couple of weeks. You know, you're not like going to be exposed to 5 games. Those players will be used, and it's great. It's good to get those players used as well, because it improves the panel as well, and you'll be calling on a lot of lads to play a part in the championship as well when it comes around. So it's important that they get good game time as well. But yeah, I think it has been around for the last couple of years, and I think a lot of attention will be brought on player management and the load that players are being exposed to, just to prevent injuries.
When you're going from a big break like you've had into such a grueling schedule, is it almost intimidating in a way, or is it something you embrace, or is it is there a bit of apprehension?
Yeah, really excited for us, to be quite honest. Look, it's we're all here to play hurling games, and now we're running into May, June, July, when the weather's going to be nice, dry, hopefully. Like, that's the best time of the year to be playing, you know. You couldn't be not but excited to be playing. Different story if it's in early January or December when it's cold and miserable. Sometimes you might be saying, Jeannie, I'm not looking forward to this now. But look, the weather's going to be really nice. We're really privileged to be able to get out and play games. And I'm just speaking for myself, and I suppose maybe on behalf of the Limerick town, we can't wait to get out and start playing games. Got a really good 2 weeks in preparation, just training hard. So really, I just can't wait to get back playing.
As Raf mentioned, there's a couple of new fellas in the panel, 3 of which haven't been there before. Has it been strange to try and integrate them in, like, in the last 2 weeks?
They've settled in really well. Yeah, some 4 top lads coming into us, and it's a really great group in that they'll be welcomed with open arms. And if they work hard and apply themselves right, they'll get on really, really well, and they'll be given plenty of opportunities. And look, in a setup like that, they're only going to come on as players, you know, being exposed to that level of training. And if they're good players, of course they're good players, if they're going to be brought in. But as they begin to develop, they'll add more to our panel, they'll add more to our team as well. But yeah, they've settled in really well. They train really hard, and 4 big young fellas as well. It's just, I don't know where they're breeding them in Limerick, but the underage structure obviously is reaping rewards when, like, to see the strength of some of them.
Cheers, Sean.
Hi,
sorry, folks. I'm just conscious of time there, so we might just take one last question if anyone has anything, and we'll let Sean head on.
Hi, Sean, Colm Keys in the Irish Independent here. How are you?
I'm good, Colm. How are you doing?
Very good now. Just one question. You're going in as defending champions for the second time in 3 years. If there was one thing you would do differently than you did in 2019 as a team, what do you think that would be?
Good question, Colm. What would I do differently? I suppose it's something I must reflect on. I don't think I would do anything different, Colm. I suppose just like we've always been doing, focus on ourselves, you know. I've always said that if we perform to the level that we expect of ourselves and to the level that we can perform at, we'd be there thereabouts of beating any team around. Of course, there's going to be a tag on our back at the moment after coming off the back of that All-Ireland success, similar to what Tipp would have been like last year after coming off 2019. But look, we can only focus on ourselves if we get our preparation right. Don't get complacent. Don't sit back in our laurels to admire what we've done last year. I think we'll be in a good position. You know, it's just not a matter of not getting complacent and not thinking we're going better and playing better than we actually are. I suppose when things are all good and really going well, I suppose that's the important time to keep your eyes sharp, because you can fall into a trap of thinking things are going really, really well when perhaps they mightn't be. So it's just a matter of having a sharp eye, not getting complacent, and just focusing on ourselves, Colm, basically, yeah.